Hi guys, it's Danny and
Scola!
So today we're going to give you a few hit tips you should know before you move to London. Before we get into it, let me just remind you, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you're new around here, thank you for coming, and if you're a subscriber, I appreciate your support. Cool, I'm going to hit you with the first fact. Number one, I know it's really obvious, but this city is actually bloody huge. And I think people forget actually that the city is really, really big. So, you know, when you've got friends in North, you've got friends in South, it potentially could take you like 2 hours to get to meet your friends if you don't meet in the middle. And I think people underestimate the distance between things. So have that in your mind when you're kind of thinking about places to work, places to live, that it's actually deceivingly big of a city.
Basically, check if it's actually worth moving to London.
This is
because, for example, I live outside of London, but it takes me a direct train that's just an hour to get into Central.
That's so good.
Whereas there's some people who live in London where it takes the exact same time. They're like,
Absolutely.
oh, how long did it take you to get here? And they're like, an hour. And I'm like, an hour. And they're like, wait, but you live like way past out, almost towards Brighton area.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's a pretty big one. I think that's a really good tip.
It's actually worth it.
For sure.
In terms of travel, commuting, and all that kind of stuff.
That's a nice one. My second tip, I would say, is be prepared to share your space. Space is a luxury in this city, and I think a lot of people come with a preconception, you know, I'm going to get a studio, and, you know, you might be in a really great position where you can afford to do that, and, you know, that's amazing, but actually, most people in this city share their space, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. You have to be mentally prepared for that, but yeah, just prepare yourself for sharing space. I think that's a pretty big one that a lot of people forget about.
100%. And I would say my next one is to do research on the area you're gonna live in.
Oh yeah.
So before you get there, even if it's worth like getting an Airbnb room for the night or something, or for a week, just to see what it's like to be in that area and whether you'll like it. Because I think the last time I was in London, the area was very nice, it was clean, it was quiet, but it was boring. Like, I would walk out my door and there was nothing going on that I couldn't find Afrobeats, basically. That's what I wanted to find. I wanted to be able to walk out, find Afrobeats, find different kinds of foods, but there just wasn't that sort of vibe that I wanted.
For sure.
So 100% live in the area you want to live for a short term of time. And that's what I've done. Now I've lived out in East. I've lived in South sort of area, south of the river. So now I've just got to do West,
South London
North,
girl.
and then I'll know where one day I might want to move permanently.
That's a good one. I think my final tip would be, off the back of what you said, understand the areas. So like go there and be there, but also understand like the kinds of people that live there, like what industries they're in, because there are very specific pockets of people in this city. And like, I would love to like make a story about this, because it's so funny, like when you meet people that are in specific professions, you're like, I can guess where you live. Like people that work in the city, like bankers. Yeah. Usually they live in like places like Brixton, Clapham, Streatham. Like everyone knows this, and it's like a bit of a joke, but you know, it's not a bad thing necessarily, because if you want to...
No one told me. That's where I ended up going, and that's why I was bored.
That's what I mean. You need to like know the kind of pockets of people that live there.
So my one to wrap this up would be, try to think about your quality of life once you get to London. So I've seen a lot of people really push themselves to move to not even just London, but cities. So they'll move from where they grew up or where they feel comfortable. And I know there's this idea that you have to push yourself outside of your comfort zone and fly the nest and branch out.
Yeah.
But you can do that in other ways. You can travel every now and again, and you can, I don't know, do everyday other things to do that. And that doesn't necessarily have to be to move to any city at all, I would say.
Absolutely.
It's because I've seen people who move to a city and they get miserable, they're lonely, because everyone is in the same like a hustle mentality as well. Sometimes they don't really care about people, they're not I'm not saying this is what it's like,
a thing.
But in the city, people are busy, it's expensive, so they're likely to be working most of the time, they're trying to look after themselves, and it's just one of those things where you can end up being miserable if you don't build a life in London. Like, you know, have a class that you go to and meet new people and, you know, have a routine.
That's a big thing actually, just following on from that, is like being prepared to be lonely. Is something that I think in every big city, like even when I lived in New York, you know, there's an element of loneliness in every city, because it's not where you're from. Like, it's not your actual settlement, that's not where your family are. probably, it's not where most of your friends are, and making that new life for yourself is such a challenge. Thank you so much for joining me. Please do go over and check out Scola's channel, which I'm sure you already have, but I'll pop all the details below, and we made a really fun video over there as well, so if it's not live yet, it will be very soon. But thank you again.
Oh, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you guys so much for joining me again. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!
Bye!